There's something I learned the hard way. Narcissists don't always show up as loud, arrogant, or aggressive. Sometimes they show up as the victim, the one who always seems hurt, the one who turns every conversation into a story about how they've been wronged, the one who cries instead of yells. In this video, I want to share what I've lived through, how the covert narcissist in my life used the victim role to manipulate me. And I'll also walk you through what I've learned from Carl Jung and other psychological sources about why this happens, how it works, and how you can start to see it for what it is. Part 1. It started with guilt. At first, I thought they were just misunderstood. They told me stories about all the people who had hurt them, friends who betrayed them, family who abandoned them, exes who were toxic. And I believed it. I wanted to be the one who finally stayed. But slowly, the guilt started creeping in. If I was late replying to a message, they'd say things like, "I guess I'm just not a priority." If I said I needed space, they'd go silent for days, then send me a long message about how I triggered their trauma. Every boundary I set became a reason they were in pain. It felt like walking through a minefield, and I started to lose myself in trying to keep them emotionally okay. Part 2. The weaponization of vulnerability. I now understand this through the lens of covert narcissism. These individuals often don't explode outward. They implode inward. They don't lash out. They collapse. What I thought was emotional honesty was often emotional manipulation. They didn't just express pain, they used it to regain control. And here's what Carl Jung would say about that. When people repress parts of themselves, the anger, the shame, the entitlement, it doesn't go away. It becomes what he called the shadow. And if they won't own it, they project it onto the people closest to them. Part 3. Projection. How I became the villain. Over time, I noticed this strange pattern. I was always the one to blame. If they were upset, it was because I did something. If they withdrew, it was because I hurt them. If I brought up something they did, they'd say I was being critical, or just like the others. Eventually, I started believing it. Maybe I was too much. Maybe I was the problem. But through reading and therapy, I learned this is classic projection. Jung said that what we deny in ourselves, we see in others. The covert narcissist can't admit to their own emotional manipulation, so they accuse you of being toxic, cold, or selfish. Part 4. The inner child illusion. This part was the hardest for me, because they did seem hurt, like a child who just wanted to be loved. I saw so much fragility in them. I couldn't see the manipulation underneath. They weren't yelling at me. They were crying. They weren't threatening me. They were shutting down. And my instinct was to help, to fix, to love harder. But here's something I learned the painful way. Being wounded does not give someone the right to wound others. There's a difference between vulnerability and victimhood. One invites connection, the other demands control. Part 5. Emotional dependency, the cycle that kept me stuck. The more I gave, the more they took, and the more they took, the more I felt I had to keep giving, until I was emotionally exhausted, confused, and full of self-doubt. They would break me down, then say, "You're the only one who's ever been there for me." And that twisted praise kept me tethered. I now know this is called a traumabond, a cycle of abuse and reward that makes you feel responsible for someone else's healing, even while they're harming you. Part 6. Learning to see clearly and plan my exit. Carl Jung said, "Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate." I used to think I had bad luck in love, that I just kept attracting emotionally damaged people. But now I understand. I had unconscious patterns of my own, a need to rescue, a fear of abandonment, and they were using those things against me. That's why I've started planning my exit, quietly, intentionally, safely, because I'm not here to play savior anymore. I'm here to survive, and then to thrive. Closing message. If you're in something like this, I want you to know you're not crazy, you're not cruel, and you're not alone. Some people don't hurt you directly. They hurt you by always being hurt. And if they never take responsibility for their pain, that pain will become your prison. But you can walk away, you can reclaim your reality, and you can build a life where your compassion is no longer a weapon used against you. If something in this video resonated with you, consider subscribing to my channel, because in my next video, I will tell you about the traumabond and how the female narcissist uses this with personal examples and experience and how you can spot it in your own life.